Thank you all for jumping on and joining us today. I know you all have busy schedules, so we really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day, whether you're East Coast, Central, Mountain Time, or West Coast, to join us for the Lunch and Learn on smarter AV and leasing strategies for law firms. I'm going to do a couple introductions before we jump into the core subjects. We'll have people trickling in here over the next couple minutes as well. This is being recorded, so don't worry. We'll send you all a copy of the presentation once we're done here as well. So we're going to start out with some introductions. So I'll go first. My name is Brian Wood. I work at CoreTech Leasing. I'm the Senior Vice President of Impact and Growth. I've been in the equipment leasing industry for nearly 15 years in both independent contributor and leadership roles. I live in beautiful, sunny Southern California with my wife and two boys, my 4-year-old River and my 2-year-old son Riker. And I'm a massive Cincinnati Bengals fan. Unfortunately, if you follow football, you can feel bad for me. I decided with all of the troubles that my Ohio-based teams have, I was going to make my sons LA fans. So lucky for them, they've already got 2 world championships under their belt for baseball. Thank you to the Dodgers for them. And I'm sitting here lonely on my end on the championship side, but that's okay. We'll get one eventually, right? Right before we die. So that's a little bit about me, and I wanted to give you all a little overview. For those of you that don't know CoreTech, we are an equipment leasing company. We focus primarily on the legal space and helping law firms with strategic technology leasing initiatives. Been around since 2008 and done business with several law firms in the AmLaw 200, NLJ 500, and we're looking to obviously expand and take on new clients as well. So I will turn it over to my colleague, friend Max Ortiz, so he can give you a brief overview around VisionPoint.
Thanks, Brian. So I'm Max Ortiz. I'm a senior technology consultant here at VisionPoint. I live here in Connecticut, which is a little bit colder out there in Cali. I love traveling. I love cooking. I have 4 kids. One of my daughters, she lives out in San Diego, so gets to share a little bit of the warmth out there. Here at VisionPoint, we are integrator, full turnkey. Been in the industry for about 25 years, and I'll hand it over to my colleague, Tim here.
Hey, good afternoon or good morning. Tim Green here with VisionPoint. I've been in the industry for a number of years. With my primary focus in the past has been on delivery of high-end solutions. I've worked for companies like Xerox Professional Services, Hewlett-Packard, Avaya. I've been involved with the UC space, so I'm very familiar with the Teams and Zoom integration that's very popular these days. I also live in Connecticut. I'm from Boston originally, so like Brian, I like where I'm at. As far as the sports teams that we follow, they're doing very, very well. We'd love to talk. We also have customers in the legal space. We deliver high-end conference rooms, although it really spans the spectrum as far as what we can deliver conference room wise. A lot of firms engage us because they want conference rooms that really provide that one-touch, seamless look and feel when they're engaging in meetings, whether it's a Teams, Zoom, or a boardroom meeting or otherwise. Also, so have the rooms to stand out and really augment the prestige and reputation of the firms that we represent. So we work with many in the legal industry. We also cover different industries, and we will work the entire process from design through delivery. We work very closely with companies like CoreTech. I think the financing and the money piece is very important. So we have a very strong relationship in that regard. Back to you, Brian.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks so much, Max. Thanks, Tim. So we always like to start these out with a little bit about us, and what better way to do that with some 5-star reviews, right? So why did we decide to join forces from the VisionPoint and CoreTech side? Well, clients are at our core, right? It's in our name. We value relationships. We value long-term, long-standing relationships. Same thing with the VisionPoint team, right? So we wanted to highlight a few of these examples here. These are some of our several of our 5-star reviews that we have and that VisionPoint has, but we wanted to highlight some of those. Really, for us, this speaks volumes about you all that are clients that are on this call, prospective clients as well, how much we value the work that we put into what we do for you all on the AV side and the financing and leasing side on a day in, day out basis. We're not transactional, we're relationship based. And we love 5-star reviews. We love additional clients that want to work with us and expand the business as well. And we're really from both ends, from the VisionPoint and the CoreTech side. We're coming at this from a consultative approach, right? So we're here to help first and foremost. And I wanted to highlight as well from the CoreTech side, CLFP, Certified Leasing and Finance Professional. It's a very esteemed designation that is not easy to achieve. And our team here takes great pride in making sure that we are serving our clients the best that we can. So 86% of the CoreTech team is certified as a CLFP, and we take great pride in that, in helping you all make sure you can navigate the waters of what is a very complex financing and leasing structure that's out there. So really proud of that, really proud of the VisionPoint team and all the great work they do, and the CoreTech team as well. So we just wanted to highlight that. And then once again, why CoreTech and VisionPoint? Better together, right? So when you have an AV partner that comes in and really understands your needs, doesn't just give you the boilerplate vanilla template and the cheapest option on the table, but really gets to know you, your product, what means the most to you and what matters to you in an AV setup. When you pair somebody like that up with someone like CoreTech that really custom tailors the financing and leasing to make sure it meets your needs, it's a dynamic combo. So that's why we chose to come together. They have a lot of clients in the legal space that rave about them. Same thing on our end. And we figured, what better way to get all of our clients and prospects on together to hear about all the things we can help them with than running a webinar together. So I'm grateful to the VisionPoint team, very excited to see all of their clients and prospects on here. Extremely grateful to the CoreTech team and to all of our clients and prospects that took the time out of their day to join. So thank you so much. We're excited to share some of our combined strategies and individual strategies with you today. And I will go ahead and turn it on over to Tim to walk through the agenda today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brian. I think that there's a lot to cover. We're going to talk about the challenges, some of the solutions, both from VisionPoint and what CoreTech can deliver, how working together can provide or produce greater benefit for you as our customers and our prospective customers. And then we also have some very interesting takeaways that we'll be providing at the end of this. For those of you, who join us this afternoon, we have a very, very generous offer that we'll be unveiling at the end. I think when we look at the solutions that we offer, we have it's a changing landscape. And one of the things that I'd ask you to consider as we walk through the presentation is to think about how AV is being integrated in your space. How many conference rooms, how many huddle rooms, how are you using AV throughout your organization? How many rooms in total? Are they working well? Do you know how they're being used? Do you encounter, are they working flawlessly, or are you encountering challenges? We will discuss some of the takeaways from today's call will be what you need to think about and look at to really take better control of that asset within your organization. Max is going to spend the next couple of slides talking about some of the solutions that we offer and really why it's important, and really how to take an intelligent approach when undertaking the project of incorporating better AV into your organization. Max, why don't you take it away at this point? Next slide. Ryan, next slide.
Showing on your end?
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yep, there you go. Thank you, Tim. Some great insight. So law firms are evolving. They're adapting to new technologies, right? From hybrid work, virtual collaborations, clients everywhere. So the right AV matters as far as keeping things smooth, secure, and consistent. So yeah, at VisionPoint, we designed the right AV systems for your firm. So as far as everything working together. So ask yourself, when you walk into a meeting room, how confident are you when that meeting starts smoothly with no issues? See, our goal here at VisionPoint is to provide that confidence for reliable AV design every time. Like a chef, like I mentioned, I love to cook. So having the right AV setup, the ingredients, the recipe, the right presentation, it's going to deliver a great dish every time. And that's the same concept with AV. So if you have the right technology, the right tech design, it's going to deliver consistent, reliable setups all the time. And what does that bring? It brings standardized AV. It means fewer surprises, less downtime, simple professional spaces all the time. The image here in the middle, it's our project process. It's a two-phase approach with our design and build. We find that this phase process brings out focus, time, and space, and it's a team approach. So we bring our engineers, our programmers, our installers, our project team. We of course consult with the clients. Next slide. So what's important? So consistent AV across offices. What does that mean? That means familiar, standardized AV across your offices. So the staff know the setup. IT gets fewer calls. Upgrades are predictable and smooth. And for hybrid collaboration, what's important? Interoperability. So that means if you're working with Zoom, Teams, or WebEx, it all just works. So that type of flexibility gives your attorneys options without any issues or any tech issues at all. The image on the far right, that's one of our AV racks. It's a purpose-built AV rack. It's built like that to keep systems smooth, organized, reliable, ready to go from day one to year 5. That rack right there, I believe, is it's one of our racks that we built about 10 years ago. So it's still functioning to this day with how it's built. And for litigation and depositions, what matters? Clarity and security. So if you have crisp audio, sharp video, that's going to give you reliable connections every time. I'm going to hand over to Tim. He's going to discuss some other things that we do.
Sure. Thank you, Max. That's insightful. It does come down to the user experience and what we can deliver, how it works. With many of our law firms, we understand that billing time and hourly rates are generally fairly high, so we don't want to waste that time. We want to make sure that we're using our time and space efficiently. So the law firms we work with are very cognizant of that. The lawyers want to be able to go into the conference room and have a one-touch start of that meeting. So, we talk about, different technologies. I'm going to step back here. I think the industry has been evolving. We're seeing some great great evolution with the industry as far as the technology, what's available, what might have cost, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars just 5 or 10 short years ago, is now in the thousands or small tens of thousands of dollars. And all the vendors want to make their technology appear easy to use. That's the image and the impression they want to give. Easy, but I want to caution you that it's not always simple. I was at a meeting last week and spoke with a client who had a meeting room with a vendor technology deployed in their room, one of these rally bars beneath the screen, and he was commenting how the audio quality was terrible, that nobody could really understand what was being said, whether they were in the room or on the phone. That listening through the speakers was not very clear, and that was a challenge. And that this was a room they had deployed. They had started to speak to people about getting that corrected, and we're getting large high quotes to put in new rooms. Not to say that would be the absolute cost, but I think it really underscores the point about doing it right from the get-go. VisionPoint, we design rooms, but we design rooms that we build. So we're not just putting together a spec for somebody else to take hold of and run with. We actually own the spec. We will deploy it. We will support it all the way through. And I think there's a key difference there. So, we take pride in that. Our engineers are all CTS plus certified, and which is a high level skill, being able to tailor the solutions. So again, looking at the different types of rooms, yes, in some cases there's technology that may lead one to believe that they can install this themselves, and in some cases they can. But when you do, you're talking more basic technology. So for example, the entry level poly rooms or Logi or others, they'll have some preset, is the room small, medium, and large, but it's really not accounting for all the acoustical elements and other aspects of the room that can impact the quality of the meeting. When VisionPoint gets involved, we will go through a thorough analysis and an assessment with you. I mean, we're taking into consideration, the acoustics of the room, the lighting, what's the reflection on the screen, what are the distances, there are things like rules of legibility, which really determine what's the screen size for the size of the room. So we'll optimize that. How close should somebody sitting? How far away? What are the camera angles? Are the cameras set up to properly track people or frame them properly? Are there other aspects that you want incorporated into the room, such as touch screen or whiteboard? And do you need multiple screens and multiple cameras? This adds to the complexity of the room. Additionally, if the room is larger or has acoustical issues, setting up how and what microphones and what speakers to use. So, for example, we've been talking to folks about rooms recently where there's lots of hard surfaces and glass. So some of the speakers, if you get a typical basic rally bar type of system, a Poly, a Logi, one of those, they're using speakers that are really, omnidirectional. They're very good. They'll pick up all the sounds in the room, which also means that when you're in that meeting, they're picking up sounds that you don't want them to pick up. And we'll be using things, beam forming microphones and different technologies to really isolate and have that sound dedicated to where it, should be originating from or playing back. Are the speakers set up so that everybody in the room can hear equally without somebody having to shout or have to try and read lips to determine what's being said? Those are important characteristics when you're looking at the audio aspects of a room. In terms of the video aspects, I've talked about auto framing and auto tracking. A lot of these new conference rooms have glass walls, reflections, things like that can really play havoc with the today's cameras. So it is very important. Yes, there are some elements that folks can take care of themselves, but tailoring that room specifically to your purpose and your need will result in a much better user experience. And VisionPoint really works hard to delight its customers. Whether it's, supporting Zoom or Teams rooms, in a smaller space, or board meetings and customer and client meetings in larger boardrooms and larger space. I also want to touch on, this technology because it really opens the door to leveraging it for other aspects of the business. Digital signage, for example. All of these displays can be used to convey digital signage or messaging through digital signage. And there are technologies that we can employ or help you employ that will deliver that type of experience. And finally, regarding the digital signage or LED walls, we are seeing many firms move on to what I'll call LED displays, not to be confused with the LCD backlit LED displays. LED are really custom sizable. So we're seeing an increasing number of law firms use these in their premier conference rooms, client meeting spaces. And these are displays that could be anywhere from 3 to 4 feet high by 10 feet across, with a brilliance and clarity and an immersion that is spectacular. So we'd be very happy to talk with you about the use of those technologies and helping you design rooms for yourself. And that's something that If you have rooms that you're looking to build out or refresh, that's an area where VisionPoint can help. And we will talk further about that, but we, keep in mind and keep us in mind for helping you with that. Next slide, please, Brian. In talking about, the install, that's very important, but it's after the install that's equally important. This is something to think about. How many blind spots might be in your workspace right now? Do you have statistics or analytics on how your rooms are being currently used? How many are in use? How often and how frequently they're being used? Can you manage those rooms remotely? Do you have a team of people on your IT staff or others who go around in the mornings to make sure the rooms are configured properly and fully operational? These are important elements, and one of the things that VisionPoint can deliver, and we call it Vision Care, it is a full service support service through our NOC, where we're able to help manage and monitor your AV solutions remotely. If somebody needs to be dispatched on site, we will work with your team or dispatch somebody from our team to resolve those issues. What I illustrate here in the graphic is simply, the system identifying an issue as it goes through, let's say, a daily check, identifies an issue with a Teams room. That's quickly resolved. Generally, I know this screen shows a little long. Generally, it's 1 to 2 minutes. I think 20 to 30 minutes is really how long, if you're using Teams and then using the Microsoft Teams Pro Management Portal, you're probably looking more to 20 to 30 minute time to resolution. When we find problems, we generally can self-heal those within 1 to 2 minutes and get that room ready for operation. And that's critical. I mean, in this illustration, we're talking middle of the night, but if this were middle of the morning and it's 11 o'clock in the morning and an attorney goes in for a meeting at 11 and that room's still not working at 11:02, 11:03, if that's not quickly on the way to resolution, then that meeting's probably over and that time's been that room's rendered useless for that immediate time. Secondly, being able to manage and monitor the room. So let's say somebody books a room and doesn't show up. If the room is not being used as it's scheduled for, our solution can identify that and release that room and put that back into the scheduling queue. So, if you're integrated with Zoom or Teams, this will go back into your Outlook calendar as an available resource. So these are important elements that we can apply to your environment that allow you to proactively manage and monitor this valuable asset that you have. And what this results in is reduced downtime, and it also reduces the complexity of managing and administering these rooms. Well, we do manage these rooms through our NOC center, and we'll manage this remotely on behalf of our clients. This is also something that we have clients that if you're using an enterprise ITSM solution, let's say a ServiceNow or a Zen Desktop, this solution, there are elements of it that can be integrated into that platform so that your tech team, if that's their prerogative, can have that view from a central pane of glass. So as we look at this, we're really providing a full life cycle management. So from cradle to grave in terms of helping you with this technology, this also gives us the ability to help you guide your decisions regarding, what is the roadmap for your technology as you move forward, and the analytics can help you with that. Is the product still in a supported state from the manufacturer, or has the product been end of life, and should you consider replacing it with a newer generation technology? All of this will come in and help you with these decisions and help you manage them more effectively, more efficiently, and probably to a greater cost savings, especially when you couple this with, things like working with CoreTech on leasing. So, one of the things I think Brian's going to talk about is really around matching your lease term to the technology refresh cycles that makes sense. So paying, kind of that model that you have today with Teams and Zooms, paying for what you use as you use it and not paying for more. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Brian. I think Brian has a lot more to talk about regarding the financing and money aspect of really upgrading your AV technology, which is our primary concern, but I know they also can provide leasing for a lot of other equipment that's probably also on your agenda as well. So, Brian, thank you. I'm going to pass it to you now.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tim. A lot of insightful things there. Obviously, you all can tell that the VisionPoint team has a lot of experience in, setting people up with the right AV solutions. And I think something that was really important you highlighted there, Tim, was kind of the stuff that doesn't hit the P&L, right? Doesn't hit the bottom line. What happens if, you're not set up in the right system and you have a potential contract that is worth millions of dollars that decides to jump off because the solution isn't working for them, right? So there's a lot of things that are not necessarily hitting the bottom line that making a ton of sense for a consultant like VisionPoint to come in and make sure that you all have the right solution for your situation. So really appreciate that. We're going to talk a little bit around turning vision into action, right? So now that you've heard everything around how to get the right AV solution set up and what that means for you individually. We want to talk about what do we do now with all this information, right? Or what are things that CoreTech and VisionPoint can help you out with? So let's talk about how to spread those costs out, right? Tim mentioned that costs are rising, everything's getting more expensive, right? We all know that on a day in, day out basis just by going to the grocery store. So how do you get finance and IT aligned to make sure that you're not missing out on these great AV upgrades and other technology equipment solutions because of budget and rising costs, right? Well, that's exactly where we come into play. This is what we do day in, day out with our law firm clients. And we just want to touch on some of the reasons that firms choose to finance or lease equipment with CoreTech. So we already touched heavily on cash flow and capital preservation, right? We know it's budget season for a lot of you all, and there's a lot of discussion or debate going on around what makes the wish list, what doesn't. And we're here to help you all out with that, right? If you have that amazing AV upgrade that is just going to kick your internal team into high drive and get you more clients, don't delay that. Don't push it off. Let's talk about some solutions that we can work up where you can get it pushed through the budget. You can do it now, and you don't have to wait to upgrade your equipment and your technology. So we want to talk about predictable budgeting, right? Why do people finance or lease? It helps you set up a predictable budget. You know what your payments are going to be month in, month out. You don't have to absorb all of those costs on day one, right? So instead of spending a lot of money on high-end upgrades and having all of that come up front, you can spread those costs out over a fixed term and make sure that everything is checked off from the box standpoint on the finance and the IT side. You all are getting the latest and greatest technology, and you don't have to come out of pocket for it right up front. Another thing too, delaying refreshes or upgrades because of budgetary reasons, right? We're telling you, as Tim mentioned and Max mentioned in their presentations, look, all these things that do directly and indirectly hit the bottom line, you want to make sure that you've got the latest and greatest. It matters so much for recruiting, getting the best talent. It matters so much for your external clients and what they see, right? Impressions are everything in the legal world. So we want to make sure you all are out there operating with the best, latest, and greatest technology. Great way to do that is to make sure that you spread those costs out, you finance or lease that equipment. As Tim mentioned before, assigning payments and making sure that the term is matched to the useful life of the equipment. So you're consistently upgrading, getting the latest and greatest on your end as well. So we're going to jump to the next slide where we're going to talk about smarter financing and better outcomes. So look, we understand every dollar is the same color green, right? And that's the old adage that's out there. Well, we're here to talk to you about why that's not necessarily true. Okay, so there's a ton of leasing companies, there's a ton of financing companies, just like there's a lot of AV companies out there, right? But choosing who you work with can be the difference between pulling your hair out and having a stressful dilemma, or working with the right partner that takes everything out of your hands and makes sure that the process runs seamlessly. So not only that, but we want to talk a little bit here about costs, right? Leasing, financing, just the world in general of lending money, unfortunately, has some bad apples out there. And CoreTech prides itself on relationship-based business, right? It's why we've got clients that we've worked with for 15 plus years since inception. It's why we get referral and introductions. Same thing on the VisionPoint side, right? It's very important for us that we maintain our brand name and that we keep our clients happy. And so, unfortunately, that's not always true with every leasing company. And so one of the things that we offer and we provide is a lease cost analysis that we do. So we come in, we analyze current leasing contracts that you have. If you have leased equipment before, we make sure that we're checking all the boxes for you, making sure that if there's anything you need to do on the front end of those lease arrangements or on the back end, giving notice, ensuring that you're being timely with all of those things. We want to make sure that you're in the right leasing situation, ideally with us, but we want to make sure the leasing brand has a good name behind it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that product offering later on in one of our later slides, but lease cost analysis, if any of y'all are sitting there and you're on this call and you say, gosh, I'm in a leasing situation I'm not super pleased with, or you know what, I haven't taken a look at my leasing arrangements in a while. I think I should. Let us know. We'd love to work with you and make sure that you're in the right leasing situation. The other thing too, just like Vision Care for the VisionPoint team, we've got a platform called CoreCare. And CoreCare is an asset management solution that's proprietary, developed in-house by the CoreTech team. And for all of you on the IT and asset management side, you all know how cumbersome and difficult that can be. Well, we offer that to you all complimentary to make sure that you can, see what is on lease. What do you have on lease currently? What equipment do you all need to start looking at upgrading? All those things are complementary, and we've got an amazing client experience team that can walk you through a demo, make sure that you have all your assets in there, they're being accounted for correctly, and you can even utilize the system for assets that are not currently leased by CoreTech. So we do all of this to make sure that our clients are getting that true white glove experience, because once again, for us, it's about coming in, consulting, helping you all out, making sure you're in the right situation all around. So just to touch on these things one more time, you want to make sure you're avoiding inflexible contracts. You want to make sure that you're working with the right partner, right? It can mean everything to whether you continue leasing or continue financing or not. You want to make sure you've got predictable monthly payments so that your finance team is comfortable with how things are being spread out. And for budgets, it makes it a lot easier to account for that. And then you want to make sure you don't have any surprises at the end of the lease, right? You want to make sure that you know what your lease says. And once again, that's why I want to highlight again, 86% of our staff CLFP certified. We can come in and identify things that to the naked eye don't make sense, even to the greatest attorneys in the world, might slip through the cracks. So happy to help you all out with that as well. So once again, we're going to just talk about, because this is such an important topic in today's economy, in today's world, about spreading out costs, strengthening cash flow, making sure that you're turning what could be sizable upfront payments, right? We all know with AI, everything that's making headway on that front, all the software upgrades. We've all been there with those 7% increases every year from our favorite software providers, right? So how do you take that and turn that into a predictable monthly cost? Well, you can finance your software upgrades. You can finance your equipment that lasts a long time. You can lease the equipment, laptops, desktops, audiovisual equipment, things that you want to refresh every couple of years. So by turning something that is a large upfront expense and only getting larger into a predictable monthly cost, you will make your finance team very happy. IT team gets the latest and greatest and the best solution, and you are all very, very happy. Once again, preserving cash for growth and operations. It's a war for talent out there, right? There's people that, are open to moving firms, top partners, attorneys. all these things. And you want to make sure you got cash on hand. You want to make sure you have money available to do all the things that generate a high ROI. You don't want to pump all that capital into a depreciating asset. So let's work with you at finance and spread out those costs or lease the equipment for you, help you get that new office location you're looking for, those new high-end attorneys to grow your business. And the last thing we want to talk about is combining all the expenses into one monthly cost, right? As Tim and Max mentioned, we love AV equipment. We love working with people like VisionPoint and helping out with all that. But we also do, laptops, desktops, software upgrades. We've been helping a lot of our clients out with new office locations on furniture, things like that. And you can take all of those expenses and put them on one schedule. You can separate them onto multiple schedules depending on the term, and just makes your life a lot easier from a budget standpoint and managing your expenses. So love to talk to you all about that. If we're currently helping some of you all out with laptops, well, we're here to tell you we can help you out with all the other stuff too. If we're not helping you out with anything, well, give us a call after this and we'd love to help you out. So we're going to talk about something that has been, I'm sure, top of mind for a lot of you, but Section 179, right? What is Section 179? Well, none of us like paying Uncle Sam, okay? On the business front, on the personal front, we're all always looking for ways that we can, get upgraded stuff, get equipment, get vehicles, and not have to pay Uncle Sam, okay? So Section 179, the beautiful thing about this is that if you've got equipment that you've paid for, it applies to this, okay? If you're looking at financing on a capital lease equipment, it applies to this. And what this means is you can take the full depreciation benefit of ownership in year one, so 100% of that in year one in 2025 and write it off, okay? And so that's massive, right? We know law firms, y'all are doing well, you're growing, but once again, if you can keep more of that capital and get stuff that you were going to get anyway, why not get the tax savings that are associated with that? So this applies to equipment that's in service by year end. Once again, up to 1.25 million in immediate deductions for 2025. And capital leases do qualify, right? There's a misnomer that it doesn't. Obviously, you want to consult with your appropriate CPA or tax associate, but capital leases do apply to this. So give us a call if you're curious, if you've got anything that you purchased over the last 9 months that you want to look at casting out that debt, or if you're looking at anything that maybe you are considering pushing off till next year, now's the time to take a look at this stuff and do it. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Tim and Max and let them talk about upgrading and standardizing your AV.
Well, then I'll kick it off. And I know Max is going to talk about a promo that we're going to put together, but I think Brian talks about taking action at the end of the year. If you're in a situation where Section 179 can apply, if you're in a situation where you have conference rooms that perhaps need to be upgraded, aren't working right, or you're expanding, those are areas where we would love to help you. I'm sure that you may already be working with AV firms that are doing some or all of the business. I think we can showcase why VisionPoint should be part of your roster for vendors that you work with for making these changes and enhancements. So if you are working on, if you have open specs or requirements, we'd be happy to provide a competitive quote to work with you on those rooms and showcase, the value that we can deliver in terms of delivering the right technology for the space involved. Is again, as I pointed out in the prior slide, you have a range of products and solutions that can be deployed. The worst thing you can do is put a technology in that's saving a few dollars but not delivering the type of results that your clients and your users need in order to work effectively. The things that we do, from the design, the build, and the support, when we deploy a room, we're so confident about that room that we're providing full support, extended warranty on the hardware through the first year, and that can be extended years 2 and 3 and beyond. So those are things that we can do. So if you are looking and you have rooms that have specific requirements, a room's getting tired, needs to be refreshed, a room's set up kind of properly but not working well, the acoustics are terrible, the video's terrible, we can provide an assessment. And I know Max is chomping at the bit to tell you what we're going to offer to help you kind of understand that even better. Second piece I'd like to cover is the management piece, and that's the technology to be able to understand and view and manage the assets throughout your organization. So if you have 10 or more spaces that are conference rooms slash huddle rooms, your organization can realize a tremendous return on investment, a very quick ROI on deploying this technology across as few as 10 or 15 rooms. So especially if you have multiple locations, being able to manage this from a single pane of glass, all the technology related to AV, this provides a tremendous benefit to your users. So all this attached technology can be monitored, managed. You can pull analytics. You can manage the equipment both for, remote healing as well as remote management if the room's being used or otherwise. So if either of those scenarios, putting a new room in, or you want to take a look at what the value of managing your existing spaces might be, we can walk you through the entire spectrum there and give you the information that you need in order to be able to make an informed decision, fully understanding the value that it can deliver. Max, you want to talk about our incentive for those who have joined our call today?
It's a great incentive. Thank you, Brian. Some great information on some flexible spending. And anyone who's joining our call today, we're going to be offering a complimentary virtual AV assessment. We'll provide a tailored recommendation on how to optimize in the performance on your current conference rooms. So if you want to take advantage of any of the flexible spending that Brian mentioned, if you're doing an upgrade, moving, expanding offices, or just want to assess how we can help, give us a call. We'll be happy to set up a call for you. I'm going to hand over to Brian. He's going to.
So Max, we're doing that for up to 5 rooms, I believe.
Yes,
and what
correct.
we would and what we need from from you all, those who are interested, if we will do this for up to 5 rooms, provide us the details regarding the room, so dimensions, what equipment's currently in the room, the model makes and model numbers. We get the pertinent details. We will actually perform a professional assessment on your behalf.
Yep, exactly. And so I'll hand over to Brian. He's going to piece everything together as far as working together with CoreTech and VisionPoint.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's amazing. I think that's a fantastic offering that you all have. And look, I mean, you have AV upgrades, take advantage, right? Make sure you all are working with the right solution provider, and make sure you know everything before you go in. So on our end, once again, just to recap why we chose to do this with the VisionPoint team and they chose to do it with us. You can hear on the screen, right? We're both coming from that consultative approach. We want to make sure that you understand how the AV process works, how leasing works. And for us, educated clients that understand leasing, make the best clients, right? They understand how to keep the bad apples out and make sure that they're working with the right people. And for us, that's what we want to do. We want to come in and help. So on our end as well, for everybody that joined this call, we really appreciate once again the time that you dedicated. We're going to offer you all a complimentary lease cost analysis. And just to put some monetary or numbers behind this for y'all, there's groups out there in this world, in this space, that charge up to 30% of cost savings identified for any procurement initiatives, including equipment leasing. We are going to offer that to you all on this call for joining complimentary. So all we need is lease documentation from your latest lease arrangement. We go through, we do everything for you, go through an extensive review, and then we meet with you and your team to go over the lease contract and identify any potential pitfalls. So once again, A lot of these contracts, for AV equipment, for computers, for all these things can be in the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And we're going to offer you all that complimentary lease cost analysis on this call for joining us. So really appreciate you all today. That concludes our presentation, but we want to make sure that we're available for any questions that you all might have. I know we went through a lot of detail on the VisionPoint and the CoreTech side today. So we're going to stick around and answer any questions that you all have. For any of you that have to jump, really appreciate you dedicating the time once again. For all of our clients, thank you so much for the business. We really appreciate it. For all the prospects that are out there, we really look forward to working with you, and reach out to all of us on this screen, anybody on our teams. Looking forward to it. So
Yeah. Hey, Brian, I
go
see
ahead,
we have
Tim.
a
I'll let
couple.
you. Yep.
I see we have a couple of questions here already. So
Okay.
I'll read one from Brian. And the question is, can you share any experience with systems like PEXIP that can provide one-touch join for any system, Teams, Zoom, WebEx? But how does the licensing work as well? So with regards to that, you do need the room licenses for the team in Zoom, although we can also incorporate, the BYOD. So if I have a room that's licensed for Teams, but somebody's BYOD with Zoom, we don't need the Zoom license on that room as well. That's a BYOD. That user would have their own license, or they'd be using the user license there with PEXIP, is my understanding. Max, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you answered it.
And then we have another question. Do we get to pick hardware? We want to leverage the barcode system with a click to share client device app. I can start that. I mean, we're vendor agnostic. We work with Barco, so the Barco ClickShare is a product and solution we work with. I think more importantly, from our perspective, we're looking at what the experience is. So while somebody may look at a Barco and think and say, well, that's the one we want to use because it provides a click to share client. All these solutions provide a click to share. And, so we will, in many cases, there may be an option. And if that's the best fit, then we would use that solution. But if you think back to what I was talking about, the example of the illustration I had, client I met with, they had incorporated one of those one-touch, a Barco type solution. It was not Barco. But the solution utilized an integrated, or what we call an embedded digital signal processing solution, which had limited flexibility and was tied to speaker and microphone technology that also had limited capabilities, and the end result did not work for them. And in order to use that bar, we would have needed to add additional equipment. So in other words, they'd be paying twice for some of the functionality in order to use that bar and get the results that they want. I hope that's not too convoluted of a response there. So I'll circle back and say, yes, we're more than happy to look at what the client wants to look at regarding technology. We do support the wide brand, but we will make recommendations based upon best practices and what our technicians believe is the best fit for that space. But more than happy to consider both. Are there any other questions?
And if you have a question, you can raise your virtual hand and we will click on you.
Any questions for Brian Leasing? He's got the money.
Show me the money.
I'll ask you, Brian, what are the current, we're looking at interest rates, coming down a little bit, and maybe they'll come down again a little bit in December, although that's questionable.
Yeah. What's
this really mean in terms of folks financing, now, and how can they leverage that? What's it going to mean cost of money today?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Tim. And really for us, I think the important thing is on the equipment front, um, despite what interest rates do, right? When interest rates are high, you still need equipment. When interest rates are low, you need equipment, right? We have seen some reductions from the Fed. Usually on the equipment leasing side, it's a couple months later that we start seeing those pass through. But I think the important thing to highlight for everybody on this screen is having the latest and greatest technology, the latest and greatest equipment regardless of what the interest rate environment is or the current climate, right? It's always a good time to be evaluating and looking at casting out and spreading out payments.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I know we're coming up close to the top of the hour, and I'm happy to stay on the line for a few more minutes in case there are some more questions.
Yeah. Give it the
And
old
if
20,
not,
30
I can
seconds
pose.
to let
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, I can pose some myself if you'd like. I mean, some people look at, hey, what's important or what's the difference, in terms of, a poorly constructed AV setup versus a well-constructed AV setup. Harking back to the last question, a lot of times, in our industry, everybody's tripping over themselves. All the vendors want to show how easy it is, and they'll have insights and information on their website. They make it seem so easy for somebody to undertake this project and do it. But I'll make the analogy of kind of like laying tile. I own a home, and once in a while I'll have a little project, and it's like, oh gee, I just got to put new tile in the bathroom. And I don't know how many people have undertaken a task like that. It looks very easy. I've gone to the Home Depot and Lowe's and seen the demonstrations on it. Yet when I try to do it myself, it never quite comes out looking the same way or even lasting the same length of time. That grout cracks within a couple of months after I put it in. The tile pops up, doesn't adhere to the floor. And so, a lot of times, while it may seemingly be easy, it's not necessarily simple. That's number one. Number two, while the vendors work diligently and in many cases do a fantastic job of providing a solution that can be adjusted for, let's say, most of the use cases, those are kind of, the use cases that are run-of-the-mill use cases and that don't necessarily apply. And when you run them, it's like, well, it doesn't quite work. And if you're in there, you're invested into a technology, you've also invested the time. Step back and consider, is this something that you'd rather have somebody that does this day in and day out handle? Where's your time best spent? We have organizations that will put this on the shoulders of their IT team. And, the IT team is expert at managing this server environment, so your data storage, your internet gateways, your desktops, your desktop technology. But they're not really familiar with dealing with things like digital signal processing or video ghosting or setting up video cameras and tracking systems and integrating these technologies to work together. They're not experts in unified communications, and we've seen that play a larger role in the last few years where companies are bringing in Zoom and Teams, and so they're putting that on the shoulders of IT. And the more of these tasks that are put on IT, the more thinly stretched the more they get stretched, and it's technology that they are probably not expert in. So, working with bringing in teams that are expert with this to augment your IT team usually results or provides better results and delights your users better.
Amazing.
Well,
Well, if anybody has any questions too that they don't want to raise their hand here virtually in front of everybody that they want to ask personally one-on-one or to Max, Tim, and myself after we jump off here, feel free to send us an email, shoot us a message. We'll be sending y'all, like we mentioned, the link to the video recording if you want to share it with your teams as well that weren't able to make the call. But really appreciate everybody's time. Appreciate jumping on a Tuesday morning or afternoon, and we look forward to talking with all of you very soon.